Many people in here are rehabbers. No, you gotta stand up for me. It's after late in the evening, stand up. Okay? All right, we can have a seat. How many are wholesalers? All right, so that's a good portion of the room. How about real estate agents? Landlords? And people who are here because Charles is such a great marketer. Something you read. Got you here.
I got to hold on, I gotta get this one. This is what I gotta get. All right, thank you.
All right. Short sales can be very controversial in terms of how you do it. And all I'm gonna ask you to do is keep an open mind. Can everybody do that?
Yes.
And if you keep an open mind, I promise you, I will answer to the best of my ability each one of your questions before you leave, as long as time allows. Okay, we got an agreement here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to see anybody sleeping, because if you're sleeping, remember, you snooze, you lose.
That's right.
Okay, and also you don't want to make me tired. Now, the lady beside me can just tell you, I just took some cough medicine, some Robitussin, and you know Robitussin can make you kind of drowsy. So if I see somebody sitting there asleep, it's going to make me sleep. But I'm telling you, stay awake, because the information that I have to share with you is very crucial, very important, and very up-to-date information. Okay, let me start out by telling you just a little bit about myself. I started real estate investing in 2000, the year 2000, so this will be my 15th year. Wow. This will be my 15th year, long time. And I'm going to tell you how I got started. I was actually, in the year 2000, working for an attorney negotiating accident cases. And there was a realtor who was in an accident. And I was talking to her, and she was saying how she did real estate investing. And I had told her how I had, brought Carlton sheets, all right? But she didn't even know who I was talking about, because she was a traditional real estate agent. She bought off the MLS, and at that time, she was buying VA and HUD properties. So I told her, if you get something in the Howard County area, because that was the area that I lived in and I was interested in, please let me know. And she said, okay. Meanwhile, my husband and I, still living paycheck to paycheck. I'm not going to say we were poor, because, I feel we were blessed to have a roof over our head, but paycheck to paycheck. And one day, she called me. This was 4 or 5 months later, after I had already, previously spoken to her. She says, well, I got this property in Ellicott City. It's a townhouse. It's an investment property. Are you interested in purchasing it? So I said, let me run out and see it. Now, remember, I've never purchased a house, never taken a real estate course, and I didn't know of any real estate investment clubs during that time. I ran out to see it, and I said, there's no way I can afford to buy this. We didn't have any money in the bank. Well, at that time, this was a VA property, and at that time, the VA was actually fixing up properties, okay? I feel we've gone full circle, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, because banks are starting to fix up REO properties again. All right? So we're going to talk about that later when I get to the REO section. But she said, no, you can buy this property. They got Vendy financing. The VA will finance it for you, and you really don't have to put up any money. Well, I don't really have any good credit. And she said, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Just fill this out. So I said, okay, we'll go forward. My husband said yes. All right, we put the contract in. We got the property. I was scared to death. We got it, okay? She said, now you got to fill out the financial application. We filled out the financial application. And so what we said was, I told her, look, I want to flip this property. She said, okay, let's start looking for a buyer before we close. That's what we did. I started looking for a buyer. Now, they did not have Craigslist at that time. It was the penny saver.
Yes.
That's what it was. Okay? It was the Sun paper. That's where you run your ads, okay? And so, that's what I did. I ran an ad in the penny saver, Thrifty Nickel, and the Sun paper. Got loads of calls, loads of calls. And so, the agent would meet me over there and we would show the property. We got multiple offers on that property, multiple offers. So we accepted well, we didn't accept it. We told this one agent that really wanted it that I haven't closed on this property yet. So I can't sell it to you, but as soon as I close, you know, then I can sell it to your buyer. She said to me, that's okay. And this wasn't my agent. This was the agent that wanted her buyer to have the house. That's okay. See my title company and they'll take care of it. If you just see my title company, they'll take care of it. So we signed the contract. Everything was sent to the title company, and I'm waiting for them to take care of it. So as time comes before the closing, I'm calling up the financing people. I don't have the financing yet. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Okay, I called the title company. I said, we can't close. I don't have financing. The title company said, don't worry about it. You don't need to bring any money to this closing. What do you mean I don't need to bring any money to the closing? I had no idea what they were talking about. Okay, a couple of days before closing, I'm calling over there. I still do not have the financing. She said, Ms. Scott, I'm telling you, you don't understand, and they proceeded to try to explain to me, you're coming to closing to get money, not to bring money. Okay? We go to closing, and my agent doesn't know anything about creative real estate. Nothing at all. My agent at that time just bought properties. Went on the MLS, looked up the property, put in a contract. If she got it, she bought it. Okay? We went to closing. Let's say if my closing was at 10 o'clock, they took me in one room, I signed the papers. 11 o'clock, I had to stay, the buyer came in. Okay, all right? They take me to another room, we're all sitting in there. I was nervous as can be. I'm shaking. I'm really shaking. The two agents are talking, and lo and behold, they signed the papers. Now, I can't read a HUD or settlement sheet. The agents look at the settlement sheet, and they looking at each other. And they are saying, and especially the other agent, she proceeded to ask my agent, well, how did she do this? How did she do this? What's going on here? Okay, well, we had a so what happened was, title company comes in, gives the checks, they disperse the checks. Who made the most money at that table?
You did.
Me. I made more money than both of the agents, okay? And I'm sitting there shaking because I'm looking, you know, my agent pointed to me and I'm looking at that check and I'm literally shaking. I'm just shaking. So my agent all of a sudden, like she's a big lady, she knows, she already knew because the other agent says, well, how did y'all do that? She said, well, what we did is, I'll tell you what, I gotta go now, so you call me later. She didn't know because she asked the title company afterward. Bottom line is, got my check, standing out in the driveway, screaming and hollering. I couldn't believe, just screaming and hollering. I'm gonna show you that house. Okay, that's my first deal in Ellicott City. I made $18,989. One of the things is, and why you're really blessed today, there are a lot of people making this kind of money in real estate. I didn't have anybody to look to, so my husband and I didn't believe it. We thought it was a mistake, so we didn't cash that check.
Check.
We didn't cash the check. Because we knew if we cashed that check and it was a mistake, what happens? You gotta pay it back. You gotta pay it back. And we did not have the money to pay it back. Okay? So, title company, you know, you don't cash a check, title company's books don't clear. Title company calls, Miss Scott, I see the check is still outstanding. Why haven't you cashed it? And I explained because we think it's a mistake, and you're gonna cash it back. And that's why we're holding, just waiting for your call. They explain again what had happened. And you gotta understand, the internet, there was no internet like this. There really wasn't to look this type of information up. So she says cash it. We still didn't cash that check for another couple of weeks. We finally cashed the check. We went back to the title company. What information my husband could find on the internet about this, we found. Now this was in June. This was and I know you can't see that, but this was, and that is from actually SSTAT. We brought this in June 1st, 2000. It shows that I brought it for $135 and sold it the same day for $158,000. Okay? So, I'm sorry. Same day. We did what's called a double closing, a simultaneous double closing. Now that was in June, on June the 1st. So what I did was I repeated that between June and December. And I made about $99,000 buying.
That's all right, just push it forward.
$99,000 just getting REOs, getting them under contract, doing double closings. I just repeated what I did. Consistency is so important in this business.
Did you cash all the subsequent checks?
I did cash all the subsequent checks. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Okay. So after that, doing years of, I started to seek out investment clubs. At that time in Baltimore, the only one that I could find was Investors United. Everybody heard of Investors United?
Yes.
Okay, they've been around that long. I went there and heard a speaker by the name of Ernie Kessler, the late Ernie Kessler, who became my mentor. He had an investment club that he had just started. It's called Washington REIA, and so that's where I became a member. He became my mentor. He was the one who first introduced me to short sales, and the rest is history. I began just doing REOs and short sales from that time on. As years went by, word got out as to what I was doing, and several people would ask me to help them do it, and I did. My husband and I did. We would help other people do it. Then we opened up what is now called the REI Success Center, which is located in Columbia, Maryland, also with the help of Charles. He was very instrumental in helping us actually, get that going. So we now have students really all over the country that we are helping to invest and do short sales and REO properties. What I've done is I just have brought some samples or some properties of some deals that were all done last year by students, because I want you to know what a great opportunity and the type of money that you can actually make by investing in foreclosures. And I'm telling you, really, this is the time to be doing this. Okay, this is a property on Murray Note in Pikesville. Student by, he's a wholesaler, his name is Watkins, a lot of you may know him. He's done several deals with us. everybody has their own different why and their goals as to why they're doing investing. This was not Noble's first deal, but off of his first deal that he did with us, which was one in a property in Dundalk, he actually was able to pay off all of his bills. And now his new passion, he says that he has never been out of the country. So now every 3 to 4 months, if you look him up, he's in the Dominican Republic or traveling somewhere. So knowing why you want to do something or why you want to invest is really important. So this was, like I said, a short sale. This was on Marino, Pikesville House that we did in 2014. He made $14,280. All right, this is Arcadia. And I really get excited about different student stories and what they're doing and why they're doing. On this particular one, and we had a conversation in the back about this. I want to share the numbers with you because a lot of times people do not think that the bank will take big discounts. So let's not even look at the profit yet. I'm going to tell you how much was owed on this property. The homeowner on this property actually owed $443,989.61. Okay? They are owed almost $144,000 on this property. This is in PG County. Now, can anybody tell me what you think the bank may have taken for a property like this? It does need work. It did need work on the inside. What do you think the bank may have taken? And Charles, don't raise your hand. Yvonne, you heard the conversation, so don't raise your hand. Okay, gentleman right there. $350,000? No.
50,000.
100?
Okay, well, why don't I tell you? $42,512.63.
That's how much they owed on it?
No, they owed $444,000. This is a short sale approval letter that I have in my hand. So if anybody would like to see it afterward, I'll be glad to show it to you. Okay, the bank actually took $42,000. No, this wasn't a predatory lending one. Okay, and I'm going to tell you how, when I go through the short sale process, how it was that the bank was able to take $42,000, or willing to take $42,512.63. The gentleman in the back.
That house was worth $400,000.
I know that. Charles, could you come here for a second, please?
That house, no.
Charles, I need you to okay. Mr. Ferguson.
The current payoff of your above reference account is $443,989.61.
That's how much they owe. How much did they take, Charles?
They took $42,512.63. And this is an actual, Green Tree lending document.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna keep going because I got a lot of good information to get. I'm gonna take one question. Okay.
What was the original purchase price of this joint?
You just have it, the 400, and now they may have refinanced it up to that because I can't tell you whether or not is that what they started. But when they came, when the student worked with us on this property, the homeowner owed $444,000. That's what they owe. Now, they could have refinanced it. We really don't get into that because it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is what they currently own and what I can knock it down to. That's all that matters. Okay, this student, her name is Majana, and She made $19,616,000.
Say that again? Oh, 19.
There it is, $19,616, okay? And while this part of this short sale was going on, she was actually traveling in Africa. She goes to Africa every year. So when she got back, she came back to this check. She was able to sign the documents with the title company, our title company here, while she was in Africa. Oh, by the way, she wholesaled it, because she actually wholesaled this property. Okay. Next one, Hobart in Randallstown. Nice property. It actually you can't see it real good, but it has it has a pool. This was a family, a mother and two daughters. Those who were in the class may remember them. Okay, mother and two daughters. This was their first deal. This is a property that they wholesaled. We did the short sale. They actually wholesaled it, and they made $19,901.60. All right, another one on Arcadia, not the same property that we just talked about. This is actually Gregorys' property. What he did, now, when you do marketing, and when you do it the way that we do marketing, by default, you're going to get other types of properties that have equity in it. Okay? So even though you may be marketing for pre-foreclosures, you are going to get other properties. This is one, and I tell Gregory he is amazing. He only sent out, I think he told me, maybe 25, 35 yellow letters. 25, 30. This was his first time marketing. And he got this property. All right, and it's a really interesting story because the student and the seller became sort of friends. The seller is actually a Tuskegee Airman, and so, you know, he took his son over there so that he could learn some history, you know, from this seller. But anyway, this was not a short sale. I stuck that in there really just to show you that as I was having a conversation with somebody in the back, you can throw a stone today because Maryland has so many pre-foreclosures and you're going to get a short sale. Without thinking about it, everybody probably knows somebody in this room who's in pre-foreclosure. Okay. So he made $22,000 on this. This was his first deal and he made $22,000. And I have one more. This is Manatee Tribe in Virginia Beach. Now, the reason I picked this one to go over with you, because the student is an agent. She's an agent. And what she did was, does everybody know what JV partnerships are? Okay. What she did was she partnered with a construction company.
Just explain, just in case those that don't.
What a JV partnership is either you're going to bring the property to the deal or you're going to bring the buyer to the deal, one or the other. And in her case, she brought properties and which to the deal to this construction company, and what they would do is partner with her. They would fix them up and then they would split the profit with her. Wow. So this actually $30,000 profit was her portion. Wow. The profit was actually $60,000, but that is actually her portion. Now, if you look at the, this was a short sale. The actual short sale was originally purchased for $45,000. Now, these pictures may not be that good, but look at this little one-level house. This was a one-level house, And when it was rehabbed, I guess they put another layer or another level on it. And totally looks a difference in night and day. And they did this in a matter of, I want to say, about 4 months. Okay, so she is an agent. And I always tell agents that you are really, you have more of an opportunity than a lot of us investors. I'm not an agent, I'm an investor. But as an agent, you have 2 opportunities on these short sales to make money. When you go in and see a property, you should be looking at it in such a way to say, which way can I make the most amount of money? Am I gonna be the buyer? Or am I gonna be that listing agent? Meaning, am I gonna list it for the seller? Okay? 2 hats that you can wear, but you cannot wear those 2 hats at the same time. Even though her name is Trina, even though Trina found this property, what she did was she let another agent be the listing agent. She was on the buyer side. She was on the buyer side. Okay. Questions?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Probably you can hear, you said they're short sales. Are they already, the short sales in process already, or are you waiting for?
No. None of the properties that we're getting, that I'm showing you here, and most of the ones that we're working with, they have not been processed. I don't have any that are already processed. Okay, we are not typically getting our properties from the MLS, even though that is a way to do it, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while. We are marketing directly to that homeowner. These are coming directly from the homeowner. Okay.
Can I ask you one other question on that?
Yes, sir.
So what is your average turnaround time for us?
It depends on the banks. The banks are running anywhere from 45 to 120 days.
Sometimes a year.
I don't have, I'm just trying to think. Previously, maybe several years ago, I may have had one that had taken a year, but I don't have any right now that are taking that long. And if they are taking that long, it's because, and let me come back to that a little bit later, because I'll explain to you some reasons that may cause a delay in the short sale taking a long time. A lot of times investors don't determine up front what they're gonna do with that property. And if you don't determine what you're gonna do with the short sale property up front, and then you go back in and try to change the name on it, that causes a serious delay. But other than that, we're not really having ones that are taking up to a year. Okay. Now I'm gonna move into the meat of this presentation. I'm really hoping that people will take good notes, because I'm telling you, it is so important to me, and it is one of my missions, that people become financially independent. And I really believe that investing in foreclosures at this time is a way of becoming financially independent. Even if, think about it, even if you just did one a year, what would an extra $20,000 do for you just doing one a year? Now, most people don't do one a year, okay? I don't do one a year. I mean, at any time, we're working on anywhere from 35 to 60. So, but just think, if you did 1 or 2 a year, what that would do to change your life or your financial situation, or how would it help your family. So it is my hope and my prayer that somebody in here, or several people in here, will take this information to heart and really start investing in foreclosures while this window of opportunity is available. Okay. Now, according to CNBC, in January of 2015, that was just last month, there was a spike in the foreclosure activity nationwide. right? Pre-foreclosures. Just now, I'm only talking about 1 month. There were 48,838 that were in some process that were in the foreclosure process. Auctions, scheduled auctions was 51,782. That's a big number. That means the house is actually going to be going to auction. Foreclosure, meaning that the house has been repossessed by the bank. 37,292 homes nationwide. Now, what I had my husband do when we were sitting in the back, I had him pull the numbers for, Akil, was it today?
Yes.
As of today, what those numbers look like in Merle. Okay? Pre-foreclosures, okay? Pre-foreclosures in Baltimore County right now, 1,957. PG County, these are new pre-foreclosures that have come on the market. These aren't ones that have just been sitting out there. This is only for one, as of right now, 1 month. PG County, 1,490, 1,490. Baltimore City, 1,335. That's properties for new properties that have come on the market in these categories for 1 month. So when people say, oh, there's not enough properties to invest in, that's not true. You just have to know where to find them and what to do with them. And that's what I'm going to show you here.
Hit it again. There you go.
Oh. Okay, now one of the things you got to know about me, I am technically challenged. All right? So when you see me turn and look for emphatic like that, or look for my husband, because I really can't see him. I can't see him because I'm technically challenged. And in fact, when we were doing going over the presentation this morning, I pushed a button and the screen went black. I literally panicked. Okay, so thank you, Charles, for that.
You're doing wonderfully.
Okay. All right, states with the highest foreclosure rates. Florida's #1. Nevada, #2. Look who's #3. Maryland. What does that say to us?
Inventory.
Right.
Illinois and New Jersey. Okay, I only did the top 5. Okay, I mean, you can just Google states with highest foreclosure rates and it will give you a list. Okay? How does this spike in foreclosure activity impact real estate investors and those who want to start investing? Lots of inventory. If there's lots of inventory, that means there's plenty of houses for you to make money on in 2015. If I don't convince you of anything else today, I want you to believe that there is enough foreclosure houses out there for you to invest in. And we're going to be giving you some websites and stuff that you can go to. You can go back and pull this information. I mean, the internet is just a marvelous tool. It's just marvelous. Now, does it mean I can use it? That's another story. Okay? But it is. You can go on Realty Track, and we're going to talk about Realty Track. You can go on Realty Track and put it by zip code, and it will tell you how many foreclosures and break it down by category, pre-foreclosures, auction houses, bank RBOs are in that one zip code. So if you're interested in, a particular area, that information is easily accessible to you. Okay. What are some ways you can make money investing in foreclosures? You can wholesale the property. You can fix and flip it. You can fix and rent it. You can fix and live in it. Okay? It's a good way for people who are looking for houses at a discount to find a property to live in for yourself. Okay, especially since some of the banks are now fixing up houses. Yes.
I have a question. When I first got started, I actually lived in Jersey, and I marketed to folks in pre-foreclosure, and I know there's a lot of, it was just saturated with folks that that probably the whole room was marketing to that niche. You know what I mean? So I mean, do you find that it has? I mean, I know you can only speak for Maryland, but
Well, no, I can speak for other states because I have students all over.
Okay.
Repeat
So-
the question.
I'm going to repeat the question when she finishes.
So I mean, are you finding that, is there, or is it just as saturated today as it was maybe probably this was probably like back in 04 or 05?
What she said is when she started, she was from New Jersey, and when she was marketing in New Jersey, she felt that it was saturated, that everybody was going after the same properties. Do I think that it's
that niche pre-foreclosure?
that niche pre-foreclosure? I don't think so, and let me explain to you why. If everybody, or if it was saturated, the numbers would not be what they are. Okay? The numbers just wouldn't be what, I mean, if you're gonna market to someone in pre-foreclosure, and if that homeowner goes with one of you, you're gonna resolve that situation one way or another if you know what you're doing.
Right.
So you wouldn't have such staggering numbers if the market was saturated. You got a lot of people still going to foreclosure. Okay, Realty Track reported last month that approximately 119,888 properties were in some stage of foreclosure. Many of these houses are bound to end up in one of the 4 stages of foreclosure process, the foreclosure process. Now, let's talk real quickly about the foreclosure process, because when someone says to me, oh, my house is in foreclosure, what exactly do they mean?
Right.
Okay, we do get people who call us and the house has already gone back to the bank, but they're calling about doing a short sale. So you need to understand the difference between what these stages are. A pre-foreclosure is the phase where the homeowner stops making payments, they're behind on their payments, and the bank is calling them. The bank at that time is calling them, attempting to try to get them to do some type of loan modification, a forbearance, or either a short sale, or even deed in lieu, give it back. Okay? If in that stage, in that pre-foreclosure stage, nothing is done, if that homeowner does nothing, it is going to go to foreclosure. Meaning that the property will be sold at the auction. Phase 3, redemption period. Some states have a redemption period, meaning that once the property has gone to auction, the homeowner still can redeem that property. They'll have to pay all of the outstanding fees, the interest rate, the court costs. I mean, so very few people do redeem their property during that period.
Jersey's one of those states.
Yeah, now, all states do not have it. Maryland has it on a case-by-case basis. The REO phase. The REO phase means the property has already gone through the foreclosure process, gone to the auction, and now the bank has taken back that property, and now it becomes real estate owned by the banks. Now, we're gonna focus our attention today only on 2 of these phases. We're gonna do the pre-foreclosure phase, which is where the short sales are, where you're gonna find short sales, and we're gonna talk about REOs, and that's when the bank has already taken it back. All right. When you are working in the pre-foreclosure phase, it is imperative, it is important that you understand the foreclosure law in that state. Each state has its own foreclosure laws. Now, Maryland has one of the toughest foreclosure laws. It's called PIFA. Okay, Protection of Homeowners in Foreclosures Act. These laws are put in place to protect homeowners, not to protect the investor. It is to protect the homeowner. Because we as investors, knowledge is a powerful, powerful thing. And if your heart is not in the right place, and if you are not an honest and an ethical person, you really can take advantage of homeowners out here. And this has happened in the past, and that's why PIFA, this Maryland Foreclosure Act, was put in place. Now, I'm only going to give you the highlights of it. I do have a copy of the PIFA law with me, so if anybody wants to see it, you know, I can show it to you afterwards. But I'm only going to hit the highlights, the things that I think are most important. First of all, PIFA applies to owner-occupied properties. Please, everybody, repeat that to me. PIFA applies to what?
Owner-occupied property.
Okay, does it apply to vacant property?
No.
Okay, because that's gonna determine how you handle these properties. And we're gonna talk about that. But just keep that in your head. Okay. Not more than 4 single-family dwelling units. So what that means is, it can be a row house. It can be an apartment building up to, it can be an apartment building up to 4 units. It can be a duplex. Anything over 5 units, then it is considered commercial. So you got your row houses, your single family houses, you have your townhouses. You have apartment buildings up to 4 units. The mortgage payment is at least 60 days behind. When the law first came out, the mortgage payment had to be 90 days behind. Now it's 60. So if you're talking to a homeowner and they're 60 days behind and that property is owner occupied, then you know that PIFA kicks in. That immediately PIFA needs to jump into your head. All right? You as a purchaser or the investor cannot represent that they are directly or indirectly acting on behalf of that homeowner to save their house from foreclosure. Nobody, when PIFA is applicable, should be saying to a homeowner, I am going to save your house from foreclosure. Those words never should come out of your mouth. Never make any promises to any homeowner who's in pre-foreclosure, because these may be promises that you cannot keep. And I'm going to tell you, these homeowners are so, a lot of them are so distressed and they're so traumatized, they're going to hang on to every word that you say. And they're going to hold you accountable. So if you do not do what you say you're going to do, and their house ends up going to foreclosure, then you could be looking at a lawsuit. So this PIFA law is nothing to play with. But I'm going to show you how to do this and not even have to be in the middle of all this. Wouldn't this be great?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Along with PIFA, there is the Maryland Credit Services Business Act, Juanita. And I say this, Juanita, because you had called me and asked me were there any updates to PIFA. Remember you emailed me about that? Well, this is the update that you really were asking me, I think that you were asking me about. Okay, what this act says, no upfront fees. At some point prior to PIFR, there were people who were charging homeowners money up front to do short sales. There were agents who were charging money up front to do short sales. And the short sale, if the short sale didn't go through, that homeowner was just out of that money. So what this law says and what PIFA says, you cannot charge any upfront fees. You only can charge, if you're gonna charge, after the service is fulfilled. Now, in 2009, it also said that you had to be licensed to negotiate short sales if you were not an agent or an attorney. Well, not even an agent. If you were not an attorney or you did not have a license through the Maryland Credit Services Business Act. So previous you had, if you were gonna work on a loan modification for a homeowner, then you had to be licensed. Prior to this act, we used to do loan modifications for homeowners. There were a lot of companies out here who did loan modifications for homeowners and went out of business when this came out. Because they could no longer do it without that license. It was very expensive to get that license. And there were only a handful of people who had the license. Now, as easy as the government or the states puts an act in, they can take it away and change it. Just like the weather changes, they change. So in 2013, it was revised and said you no longer required a license in order to offer loss mitigation, short sale consulting, or loan modification services. All right? So now you've seen a lot of companies now that have popped back up who are now doing loan modifications or they're doing short sale negotiation. Any questions on that? Now, I don't want agents to be left out, because I love agents. And you're gonna see why shortly. Don't think that the government or the state has forgotten about you, okay? The Maryland Real Estate Commission has put out their own document for you that tells you your do's and don'ts. And it spells it out very plainly as to what you can do and what you cannot do in terms of short sales. Now, the way they lay it out, I really like the way they have it laid out. It actually says you can do this, and they list things that you can do. Or you cannot do, and they list the things that you cannot do. I think had the PIFA law been laid out that way, there would have been a lot of less confusion and fear when it actually came out. Okay, let's start talking about what is a short sale. The sale of a property that generates less money than the amount owed on the property. That's what a short sale is. If a person owes more than what the property is worth, and they have a hardship and can no longer pay that mortgage, they are possibly eligible for a short sale. So think about owing more than what a homeowner, what the property is worth. For example, in the example I gave you, that person owed approximately $444,000. But their house was only worth, according to the bank, $42,000. That's a short sale. Now, the bank doesn't take our word for it. Just because we submit a contract, and I can guarantee you that contract did not start out at $42,000 that we put in. We probably started at around $28,000 or $30,000. The bank is going to come out. They're going to send an appraiser out, or they're going to send a BPO agent out. BPO meaning broker's price opinion, to verify the value of the house. So when you're doing short sales, please don't get hung up on how much that person owes. Doesn't matter. What matters is how much the house is worth right now. Creating equity. The objective of a short sale is for the investor to create equity from properties that no longer have equity. Does everybody understand that? Okay? By going through the short sale process, you're now going to create some type of equity for that property. Okay? For those who may be new and who don't know what equity is, here's an example at the bottom where the market value of a house is $187. The amount still owed on the mortgage is $72,000. The amount of equity in that house is $115,000. So this would not be a house that needs a short sale. Houses that need short sale typically have negative equity, or there's just so little equity in it that the homeowner can't sell it. And the reason the homeowner can't sell it is because by the time they pay the state transfer cost or pay the real estate agent, it's just not enough money in there to cover the mortgage.